Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Turtles Love Pizza. As we discussed last time, we're actually going on a quick intermission. We're going away from the Turtles this time. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite characters, Batman. Now, this intermission series is going to go over all the Tim Burton films, and there's a new comic book line called Batman 89 by Sam Hamm. So the artist is Joe Quinones, and I'm very excited because this is one of those stories that affected my taste in film. But before we get into that, this is Steven.
This is Andrew.
What's up, Andrew?
What's up, Steven?
Hey, so why don't you give me a little history about you and this movie?
The history is I don't actually remember the first time I watched it.
Okay. Well,
I remember, I think I probably watched it for the first time off of TV.
oh, okay.
I think I first watched it on TV when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while for me to watch the whole thing because, like, I always caught it not at the beginning.
Okay. This is probably like cable time when they had commercials, or you just turn on the TV and it'd be in the middle of something really cool or something like that.
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, just to give you a little background, I think this is when I look back at in my when I think back, I feel like this is the first movie I ever saw. And if you think about that,
I feel like it's the first movie you want to have said you saw.
yeah, because this movie came out in 89. So if that was the case, I would have been 3. So I don't think my parents would have let me watch this at 3. But I feel like later I had the same experience as you, watching bits and parts of it. And then I remember there was a time when a lot of people were pirating VHSs, and my mom's friend made me a copy of the Batman VHS, and I watched the crap out of that thing. It was like my favorite movie for the longest time.
Yeah, see, so Batman is like your Ninja Turtle, like my Ninja Turtles to me, because I got a bootleg of the first season of the Ninja Turtles.
No, exactly. And even you mentioned that Ninja Turtles always came out around your birthday, and that was always the case for me too. It was always a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's a little bit of history for the both of us. On top of that, like, watching this movie catapulted me into like reading a bunch of Batman comic books. Like, when I was a kid, I was always afraid of clowns, but for some reason the Joker didn't scare me as much as like it, or regular circus clowns. I don't know why. Did that have the same effect on you?
No, not really.
So you weren't scared of him, right?
No, I think it's because I watched Bozo the Clown when I was a kid, and that was like the fun clown. So
Bozo the Clown, was that like a TV show?
it was like a TV game show for like kids.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember everything. I just remember like there was like buckets, and you'd like throw the ping pong ball in, and you would like win prizes for getting in there. And I always wanted to be on the show. I think the show is from like Chicago or something, but it was Bozo the Clown.
Okay. Were you ever afraid of clowns, like in general?
No.
Oh, because of Bozo.
Thankfully, I did not get that afraid of clowns phobia.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't we start off with a very quick plot description? Andrew, you up for that?
Yeah, so
go for it.
Plot of Batman 1989. There is crime going on in the city of Gotham, as usual for any Batman comic or movie. And there is rumors of this Batman floating around. So he's some vigilante that no one's ever seen. And so this is kind of like Batman Begins, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the early stages of Batman. And then there's like the criminal underbelly, and Jack Napier is like the second hand to the big mob boss. But he has plans to like take over and become the head mob boss, and he thinks he's like smarter than everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's two reporters following the Batman case. We got Knox, and we got Vicky Vale, the love
Mm-hmm.
interest. So, in order to get rid of Jack Napier, the head boss sends him to Axis Chemicals, which is kind of weird because isn't it supposed to be Ace Chemicals?
Yeah, they changed a lot though.
Yeah, they did
So
change a lot.
yeah.
And it was like a setup for him, and Batman tries to intervene, and Jack Napier ends up falling into the chemicals and becomes the Joker after some plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Joker goes back, kills the big boss guy, becomes the big boss, and starts terrorizing Gotham. Meanwhile, Batman is trying to save Gotham slash date Vicky Vale,
Yeah,
which was kind of weird. Um, but
we could get
eventually,
into it.
yeah, eventually Joker falls in love with Vicky Vale for some reason and tries to like steal her and all this other stuff. And Batman's like, no, that's my woman. So
Yeah,
they end up fighting on top of like the was like a church,
yeah, it's a cathedral.
a cathedral, and Batman defeats Joker and gets the girl. The end.
Nice. That was actually pretty detailed. Let's fill in some of the gaps, but we'll do that in a sec. Before we do that, I kind of want to get your insight. So, what did you like about the movie? What did you not like about the movie?
I mean, it's a lot of nostalgia with
Yeah,
this movie, just because like I grew up with Michael Keaton as Batman, all the toys that were associated with this one.
the best.
Joker's famous line, "Where does he get those wonderful toys?" Like
Yeah,
that was like always like the best line in the movie.
yeah,
What else for this movie? It's just fun. It's it borders. So I really kind of wonder if Tim Burton was allowed to do his real vision of Batman, how dark it would have gotten, because
yeah,
it still kind of borders on that the '70s Batman camp, but
yeah.
also a lot darker.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of want to see like what his dark version would have been,
Mm-hmm.
but there is still like that element of camp to it. Like my wife was watching with me and she was like,
Oh,
this is a little campy. It kind of reminds me of the older Batman. I was like, yeah, I think it was probably designed to do that a little bit.
she like it?
Yeah, she liked it for the most part.
That's good.
Yeah, and of course Danny Elfman does the music for this
The
because he does
best.
all of Tim Burton's. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
So
the best. Yeah.
yeah, the music for this one is iconic. Danny Elfman also does a stellar job with his scores. So yeah. What about you? Oh, one weird thing was Bullock. Well, he wasn't actually Bullock in this, was he?
No, his name is Eckhart.
Yeah, Eckhart. And I was like, oh, that's Bullock, but his
Yeah.
name was Eckhart, and I was like, that's weird. Like it's totally Bullock.
Well, it's funny because they ended up hiring Aaron Eckhart to play Two Face later, so I think that's interesting.
I really would have loved to see Billy D. Williams become Two Face.
Me too, and we're gonna get to that, right? We're gonna get to that with the comic book.
Yeah,
So, oh shoot, spoiler alert for the comic book. But yeah, there's so much to love about this movie. You said a lot of them. The set design is one of the best in any. This is the best Gotham City in any of the movies. It really gets the gothic tone, the architecture. It's just so freaky, but also like so dark and shadowy. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
I
don't know if, in my opinion, to be the best Gotham, but it is a good Gotham.
Well, we yeah, I would like to get your insight into that. But let's get back to that later.
Yeah,
So, I think we talked about this before. Michael Keaton is my Batman. And watching these movies really cements it. I do have some critiques, and this also comes from Kevin Smith. I listened to one of his podcasts. They did like a commentary about this movie where it's pretty much like Batman doesn't do any. He's not really a crime fighter. What happens is the crime happens and then he shows up after it's done, and then he stops the criminals after they've already perpetrated the crime.
pretty much like those muggers. He just kind of catches them on the roof. Doesn't even
Exactly.
return the stuff.
Yeah, he's just watching them, and then later on he like shows up and beats them up. So I thought that was funny. Another thing is Batman kills a whole bunch,
Oh, he
which
does. That no kill rule does not apply here.
Yes. So I was watching it with my wife, and when he drives the Batmobile into the Ace, is it Axis Chemicals, right?
Axis. Yeah.
And it blows up. My wife is like, "Did everyone die in there?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, he kills in this one." So there are a bunch of not Batman things that happen, but at the same time, there are a lot of things that do happen. One of the things that I really enjoy is the fact that he does his science thing. He does some detective work where he tries to figure out the antidote and how the Joker made like the Smilex chemicals and put them in like all the the everyday
Makeup and
household
stuff. Yeah.
appliances. I thought that was really cool. And
That Batcave was really like dated. Like seeing
oh,
those giant TVs all
dude,
stacked on each other.
I love that, man. I used to love all those big computers. And one of the other things that I thought was hilarious is that every time there's a fight scene, unless it's a close up, you immediately see that it's the stunt double, even though they're trying to like show it in shadow.
Yeah.
But his jawline changes so much. And then also like the Joker, dude, Jack Nicholson is amazing in this movie. He's so chilling, so funny. One of my favorite scenes, I remember when I was a kid, this freaked me out, but one of my favorite scenes is when he shakes the hand of that mob boss and then he starts frying him. You remember that?
Oh yeah. That was great.
Oh, dude, that was so awesome. And I remember as a kid, I that would always scare the crap out of me. But now that I'm older, it's just really great practical special effects. The Batmobile, the
Batmobile is
Batplane.
like the best thing. Like this
Yeah.
Batmobile is always the Batmobile I think of when someone says the Batmobile. This one
Yeah.
or the Batman animated series one.
Or even the Batman 86. I barely think about like the Tumbler. No offense.
Yeah, the Tumblr didn't really look like a Batmobile. Like it was
Yeah.
a cool vehicle, but it was not a Batmobile. And then like the Batman, his car, it was a cool car, but it was not really the Batmobile.
Yeah, it's like the muscle mobile that one day may become the Batmobile.
Yeah. But
But
this is like especially like with like the shell thing that happens on it
yeah.
when it goes into like when he's like telling it to like wait for him or something.
Yeah, like shields. He goes
Yeah.
shields. And it's crazy though. When you read about like the production of this film, it's so wrought with drama. Like no one wanted Michael Keaton to be cast in this role. Like they had petitions and everything, right?
Dude, do you know who Burton really wanted
I think
to
it
be
was Bill
Batman?
Murray.
It was Willem Dafoe.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I heard that.
And then John Glover as the Joker.
John Glover. That that
He goes
name.
on to be Lex Luthor's father in Smallville.
Yeah, he was also Dr. Woodrue in Batman and Robin.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was the Poison Ivy, the guy who killed Poison Ivy and brought her back as Poison Ivy.
Oh, I haven't watched the movie in forever.
Oh, dude. Oh, don't make us rewatch everything. But yeah, it's just amazing casting. Wasn't I feel like Robin Williams was trying to get the role
Yeah,
and
he
then
wanted the part. They
yeah,
thought about Tim Curry, David Bowie, John
David
Lithgow,
Bowie would be
Ray
cool.
Liotta, James Woods. I mean,
I
all would have been fantastic, but nothing could
yeah,
probably have beaten Jack Nicholson.
I completely agree, especially when it comes to star power. I think if they had
Well,
David Bowie, it'd be way too sexy though. It'd be
I think just the menacing aspect of Jack Napier and the Joker
yeah,
really came through with Jack Nicholson. Like you couldn't have gotten that with anyone else.
100%. Even when he's not Joker, even when he's just Jack Napier, he looks like really threatening.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then okay, we gotta talk about a couple of things. Like Alexander Knox. I thought he was like useless. They could have
yeah, he was
written
like
him
comedic
out.
relief kind of.
Yeah. And I thought Vicky Vale, played by Kim Basinger, I remember when I was young, I was like, oh, she's so beautiful. And she still is. Like, she's very beautiful in this film, but like it kind of is a like underwritten role, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
and she
so
definitely wasn't really a damsel in distress all the time either.
yeah. Well, what wasn't she?
I mean, a little bit. She also like fought back. Like she wasn't just sitting there like somebody save me. Like remember at the top, she's like trying to seduce the Joker so
Oh.
that Batman can get a jump on him.
Yeah, I I still really like that scene. It's so like she'll kiss his shoulder and then she's like spitting out lint.
Yeah,
That was so hilarious. And then I really enjoyed the origin scene. I thought that was really well done even in this. It because what I enjoyed about it is that you see the aggression in getting shot. I mean, you see the just the physical force of getting shot by especially by the dad and the mom. They're kind of like, they're thrown back a little bit.
yeah,
And you normally don't really see that. And on top of that, that leads to one of my problems is the fact that it turns out in this film, Joker kills Bruce Wayne's parents and essentially makes him Batman, right?
yeah.
And in a weird
Which
turn of event,
he
huh?
talks about at the end. He's like, "I made you, you made me."
Yeah. So it's in a movie, this is really great motivation. In my head, it's really great motivation. But if you look at the comics, this is a never-ending battle between Batman and Joker, and people still don't know who Joker is in the comic books. So, real quick question for you: what do you think is a better approach?
Well, I mean, for a movie, it's better to have kind of this ending, right?
Yeah,
Especially if you don't know you're going to make another one.
yeah,
You
yeah,
kind of need some closure.
yeah.
And I mean, I think the eternal struggle between Batman and the Joker kind of gets old after a while.
Yeah, especially since he's in every comic book as the main villain.
Yeah, and then like, it's led to some really crazy storylines for the Joker.
Yeah, I agree.
Like stuff that's just so off the wall. You're like, "Why did you think this was a good idea?"
Yeah, and Batman has so many more interesting villains. You know what I mean?
Right.
That you don't always have to stay with the Joker. But what I did like is that there's like you said, there's closure, and in the end, they could bring the Joker back, but not this Joker. Joker could
Yeah.
become like a virus, like anyone can
Like
be Joker, quote
like the Three
unquote.
Jokers comic book.
Yeah, yeah, that was a hard read for me. I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
that was
that's
interesting.
yeah,
Like I don't like the fact that in the Batman the new one,
yeah,
like he introduced the Joker in the first movie.
yeah,
Like that was weird to me. That was one of the big issues I had with it is they didn't need the Joker.
uh huh,
And really like the Riddler's catchphrase comes from the Joker in the movie, which I was like, why?
yeah.
It's like the Riddler isn't strong enough to be his own villain, and it just kind of ruins like the Riddler as the villain.
I I don't want to go into a lot of the Batman, the new movie, but I will agree with you on a couple of things. Like that movie is overstuffed. Like there's way too many characters. There's a lot of story plot points that don't really fully get resolved, but that's fine, because now we know they're gonna have a sequel, and hopefully they'll
Yeah,
resolve those issues or whatever. But
hopefully.
yeah, I
But
do agree
this,
with you.
yeah,
Huh?
it's a complete like opposite of this Batman movie, right? Where
Right.
it's one villain, very like straight story, not a whole lot of like side stories. So
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition.
And I like that you bring that up too, because if you think about it, this movie did it right. Other than the fact that Batman isn't really a crime fighter, he's just like uh, after the math crime stopper. But like
He's a
the
clean it
main
crew.
thing is you have Gotham. It's super corrupt. They state that in the first 5 minutes of the movie. They don't even have to state it. You see it. right?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this movie. There's a lot of show don't tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I want to get into a little bit of like the Batman persona. So I do really love Michael Keaton's Batman, but at the same time, his Bruce Wayne is so interesting and cool. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah, I
weird.
think Bruce Wayne's character is better than the Batman character in this. And it's interesting because like this Batman and the Batman's Batman, the Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson one, they both like to get shot a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
No,
they don't know. There's no like swiftness and like being a ninja. It's just straight up shoot me, but I'll keep coming at you, which is kind of a dumb thing to do because
right.
getting shot, even with like Kevlar and a bulletproof vest, is still going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, you're definitely you're definitely gonna have bruises from that. And that's the other thing because the costume he's wearing is like 80 pounds, so
Yeah.
he's like a freaking tank under there, just like stumbling around. But dude, I remember the fight scene in the alley when he's fighting the guy with the swords,
Yeah.
and the guy with swords, he's doing all these like acrobatics and stuff, and Batman just like walks in and like straight punches him and kicks him in like the chest or whatever. It's like a 4-hit fight. But to me, that's like, oh wow, he's so proficient, you know?
Yeah, because you're starstruck by him.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like, I also think him as Bruce Wayne, he's got this really quirky nature to him. Like when you first meet him talking to Vicky Vale, she's like, "Oh, do you know who any of these guys if any of these guys are Bruce Wayne or whatever?" And he's like, I'm not so sure." So,
Yeah, he's not really like the playboy Bruce Wayne.
yeah, and but at the same time he is, because how did he get her, to come back? There's something charming about him, you know what I mean?
Right, but you know, like what I'm talking about, like Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne was like always with models and
Yeah.
driving Lamborghinis, things like that. He wasn't
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
playboy Bruce Wayne in this. He was more of like the what's it called? Shut in kind of Bruce Wayne that was quirky and eccentric.
Yeah. And I can kind of see Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne becoming this one later. Just kind of like shut in, like, cuz he's emo in the Batman.
He's super emo.
Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up with you, or actually two. Okay, so what did you think about the Alfred Bruce Wayne relationship? Because I think it's one of the most important relationships in the film. Just trying to show the softer, more human side of him. And I think they did it really well.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. The Alfred character in this one was nice. He was definitely caring.
Hmm.
He had some line where he's like, "I don't want to bury or I don't want to break a promise to a friend" or something like that.
Yeah, I don't want to bury like the son of friends or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that, which was
Yeah.
like kind of touching and really showed like there's a long history there,
Hmm.
like even beyond Bruce. So
Yeah. And I think it was funny because Bruce kind of used Alfred as a wingman on their
oh yeah,
first date
definitely.
with Vicky. So I enjoyed that. So my nitpicks are pretty much character based in the sense that, Batman isn't really a crime fighter. He's kind of more reactionary rather than proactive. But at the same time, there's like no relationship with Commissioner Gordon, which is a
Right.
very important relationship in the comics. And my final qualm is probably Harvey Dent wasn't used enough. And I think Billy D. Williams is the right guy for this role. He's
Definitely.
suave, he's cool. Yeah, exactly, right? And you could see that he's kind of like, oh, there's so much work as a DA. And then all of a sudden, like, he's barely in the movie. So those are kind of lost opportunities that I wish they could have dived into a little more rather than having Alexander Knox be like some kind of comedic relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My other thing is along the lines of what your comment and Kevin Smith's comment was. if you know that the girl that you're dating is supposed to go on a date with you, but you didn't actually call the date, shouldn't you like stop her and figure out what's going on instead of like crashing after the fact that
Yeah.
all these other people get knocked out with gas and they're probably dead,
No, they're
like
dead.
knowing the Joker, right? So
Yeah, they're
you're letting
dead.
all these people die for what reason?
Yeah, so essentially, he was probably waiting in the roof for the perfect time to make an entrance.
He's like, it's okay, these people can die.
Yeah. So, another thing I want to bring up are some of my favorite music cues. So my favorite music cue is, of course, the theme. Right? The
Yeah.
theme is just like what is that term? It's just like epic, right?
Hmm.
Operatic, and it's the one everyone knows, pretty much. Now, the other one I really like is when he finally is driving Vicky Vale to the Batcave, and
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that's
it's
so cool.
yeah, and I love that whole scene where he's just driving through like empty streets or whatever. It's this movie is beautiful. It's beautiful, but you're right, it's super campy too. So
My other thing is he had the
yeah,
grappling hooks.
yeah.
Why did he run up all those stairs?
When
In the cathedral at the end, like he runs up the belfry. Like, why didn't you just use like your grappling hook and just get up there a lot faster?
I don't
Like
think
he's
his hook.
literally running up these stairs.
Yeah, and he just crashed his plane, so like he's probably got like broken bones.
Yeah. So why are you running up like all these flights of stairs? Because he uses all the grappling hooks at the very, very end,
Yeah.
like as he's like going off the balcony. But couldn't you have used it to get up there a little bit faster?
And you know what? Like, if Batman's gonna kill, why doesn't he have a Batman gun? Because he doesn't
Seriously, like
seem.
he has machine guns,
Yeah,
but he doesn't have like his own pistol.
yeah. It's kind of like this Batman doesn't say anything about I hate guns or whatever. But you would rather him do a couple of punches and fights or whatever rather than him like being able to expedite it with just like a
Yeah,
gunshot.
you should just be a quick draw Batman, like a Wild West style,
That would
instead
be
of hey, shoot me a bunch of times and I'll get up and punch you.
That's a good point, man. That really is. But like at the end of the day, this is a great film.
It really is. I mean,
It's
we're just nitpicking because we can, but in all
yeah,
honesty, it's a great movie and it's great nostalgia, and it
yeah,
really did kind of kick off the movie versions of Batman
yeah, hundred
and kind of
percent,
rewrite that Adam West version of Batman to a darker, grittier version
yeah. And I think
until
it's
George Clooney came around
well, yeah. I
and the bat nipples
and the ass cracks, yeah,
and the Robin Cod piece.
yeah. I'm just like really glad that Sam Hamm. He's the guy that wrote this story. He wrote the screenplay with Warren Scarron. But I'm just really glad that he's able to come back and do a second shot at it with this new comic book series that we're going to read, the 6-issue series. I don't know, have you read it yet? Have you
I have
started it?
not.
Oh, okay, that's going to be fun then.
Oh, he did Mantis?
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, he has a lot of I don't think I saw Mantis, but I think it was like an old show, right?
Yeah, I remember Mantis. It was like some body armor or something. It was cool. I watched
Yeah.
the show.
So a couple of things that Sam Hamm said was he would have never had Vicky Vale walk into the into the Batcave,
Yeah, that was weird.
and then he also said that if Alfred was to walk her into the Batcave, that would be the last day he worked at Wayne Manor.
Pretty much. Great secret identity keeper right there.
Yeah.
All for just a date.
Hey, so real quick, like, what did you think about Wayne Manor?
Wayne Manor was cool.
Like, what do you think? Okay, so we've already seen like a few Wayne Manors. Like the first one was this one, and then they had a in Batman Returns they built like a set piece, It wasn't an
Yeah.
actual location. And then after that, they had other, other real places. Like where would you rank this one in terms of, you know, just like a Wayne Manor?
I think this is up there. I enjoy the fact that it's not some decrepit Wayne Manor that's
Yeah.
like all broken down. I like the fact that it's full of like weird stuff and
Yeah.
kind of like kind of like a little bit of a haunted house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do like that vibe, so I put it up there.
Okay, okay, cool. So we used to do pizza slices, so why don't we do batterings? If you could give this movie batterings, how many batterings would you give it?
I'll give it 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Dang, man. I love this one so much.
I mean, it's a great movie. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm giving it two. Okay, 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, okay. I'm so biased. But okay, if I was to get over my bias, I would say I'd give it about a 4. A 4 battering out of 5.
All right, because I will say like Batman Returns is actually probably my favorite out of the two of these.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to talk about that one then.
Yeah,
So that one's the next one, but overall, I think we both agree we really enjoyed it. And now, before we end the podcast, we're going to do a really quick review, as we mentioned before, of Rise of the TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon, episode 1.
yep.
Now, I don't know. Should we do a really quick plot description?
I'm just gonna read the plot description off of Wikipedia.
Okay. Go for it.
The turtles discover that they are not the only weirdest things in New York when they encounter two villains from the hidden city pursuing a dog-like agent. They have their first encounter with Baron Draxon, who is making mutants with the help of his Uzkitos. Uzkitos.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay,
I didn't even know
cool.
they had a name.
Neither did I, because he doesn't say. I don't think he said a name. But real quick, you don't have to read the rest of it. What did you
That's
think
it.
about the first episode?
I didn't like it.
Okay, I'm gonna say what I think really quick, and then I want you to get into why. But
Okay.
I had a lot of fun. I thought it was super fun. I I'm gonna say I love Ben Schwartz as Leonardo DiCaprio. Not Leonardo
Leonardo
DiCaprio,
DiCaprio, yeah.
but Leonardo, the the blue turtle. I pretty much like all the voice work all the way around. But yeah, okay, get into why you didn't like it.
I didn't like it because there's not enough strong characterization. Because they're all kind of the same character.
Okay,
They're all like goofball, slapstick. The only one that stands out is Donatello.
yeah, that's true.
Like Donatello is the only character that is his own character. The other three are kind of the same goofy slapstick characters. Like you don't
Yeah,
really see a differentiation in their characters, which I would like to see. And maybe it happens more as the season goes on. I don't know, but for this first episode, you don't really get a sense of who they all are.
I see.
And then, I know at the end, like Leonardo becomes the leader at the end of the series, but it's still like kind of this weird to see them like really not be good at being ninjas. Like they really kind of
Yeah,
suck at. They just keep getting their butts kicked constantly. Even
yeah,
like with the magic power up, they still get their butts kicked constantly.
I
Like the
agree.
only one consistently that is actually probably good is Donatello. The other three suck. Even though like
Yeah,
Leonardo's supposed to have like the moves, like he's supposed to be the good one, but
yeah.
he still sucks.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, but at the same time, like the way I look at this TV series so far is that this is even before this is probably like the first time that they're going out there. They don't even there's no Foot Clan, there's no Shredder yet. That's not in the lore. So I think what they're trying to do is kind of like retcon it and say, hey, this is the first adventure, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they did a good enough job setting it up that way
Mm,
because a lot of people come in with expectations of what Ninja Turtles are, right?
right, right.
And so like to not really have that, they don't really seem that young because
Yeah.
like Raph is like huge.
Well, I don't know. They seem to me more like teenagers than ever.
They look like teenagers, but they act like children, basically.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, I mean, teenagers are children. We're
Kind of.
idiots.
I do like April though. I think April is good in this
Yeah, I
so far.
agree.
Yeah,
Like, what do you think about them like changing her race?
I don't care about that. I mean, as long as the
Yeah,
character is good, doesn't
yeah.
really matter.
She's like really cool.
Yeah, she's like smart. She's cool. She comes up with these plans.
Yeah.
It's basically what Donatello should be,
Well, I mean, Donatello is definitely more gadgety in this one. He's kind of like the Q of the turtles.
I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the first episode. We promised to do the rest of them.
Yeah, and like I told you, like I never liked the first episode of this one. It
Yeah.
really didn't set up the characters well for me.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it has a big following, so I'm sure it gets better.
Yeah.
But just from watching the first episode, it really just doesn't speak to me of how great it's hopefully going to become.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. And knowing how big of a fan you are, yeah, I think it hurts when you see like your favorite characters maybe be made fun of, or not even that, just reinterpretations that don't make sense to you.
Yeah,
But I with the following, I'm sure it has to be better. Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure it does get better.
yeah,
It's also weird that John Cena is the voice of the bad guy.
yeah. I know, but I'm gonna go back to it because I really do like. Uh, is his name Ben Schwartz?
Yeah, Ben Schwartz. He's really good. He's like from Parks and Rec and stuff.
Yeah, and he's Sonic. He's the new
Yeah,
Sonic.
he's Sonic. He's
Yeah.
BB-8.
Is he really?
Yeah, he does the voice of BB-8 in like the Star Wars stuff.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, Ben
So,
Schwartz is great. I mean, the voice acting is great. Like Omar Miller, like he does Raph's voice. He's a good actor. He does a great job. The
yeah,
guy that does Donatello is like he always plays the nerdy character.
yeah.
Like, have you ever
But
seen Silicon Valley?
no, I haven't. He's in
Oh, he's
that.
in Silicon Valley. Yeah, they call him.
Well, I mean, we'll see if your thoughts change for episode 2. But going forward, like episode 2 has like 2 mini episodes that make up one episode. So, and 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 that's going to happen in the next like 3 or 4 episodes that we do. So, I think it'll be interesting.
Okay,
And
we'll see how it goes.
yeah, I I hope you change your mind, but like if not, I'm sorry I made you do it.
You're not sorry at all.
No, I'm not. But all right, so the end of this episode is pretty much everyone should go watch Batman 89. It's got
Yep.
wonderful direction. The production design is top notch. Like the creation of the city, the the Batmobile, the Batwing. I think there's a Joker helicopter.
Something like that.
Yeah. And then one other thing I just remember, but one other thing Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin talked about on their commentary is that Gotham City has only like 3 blocks. You see the same like same buildings throughout the whole movie.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I just think this is such a fun, brilliant like adaptation of my favorite comic book character ever. And I'm glad that we're able to watch it together and talk about it. So next week we're gonna be doing Batman Returns
Yep. Next time will be Batman Returns.
and episode 2 of Rise of the TMNT.
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
Even
Anything
if
else you want to add?
um tomorrow I will complete my sets of the Mirage Funko Pops.
Oh, really?
The Chase ones actually. So I don't have the regular ones. I only collected the Chase ones.
What
The black
what
and
what
white
is the
ones.
chase?
They're like the 1 in 6 rare ones.
Um,
So
send me the
so for
link.
Funko Pops there's Chase, and that's like the rare variant of the Funko Pop.
Okay.
So they did the Mirage line of the Ninja Turtles. So there's 4 turtles, Casey Jones and not Splinter, Shredder, and so they're all colorized. But
Mm-hmm.
the Chase ones are in black and white. So I have all the black and white ones. The last one I'm getting is Leonardo. He comes in tomorrow.
Nice. How long have you been waiting for that one?
Just a week.
Oh, okay. How much was it?
It's like $30. Yeah, 30.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, thanks for joining us on this episode. And Andrew, whenever you get it, show it to me next time.
Okay, I'll send you a picture. Don't worry.
Yeah, I want to see the whole collection.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all next time with Batman Returns and the second episode of Rise of TMNT.
Yep.
All right, peace out.
See ya.